This time I'd like to call to order the August 10th, 2011 Zoning Commission meeting. The records show that all commissioners are present. This time we'll go ahead and vote on the acceptance or denial of the proposed agenda.
Motion.
Have a motion by Commissioner Milton Cluott to accept.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dan Satterley. Any objection or discussion? Motion passes. Item 4 on our agenda, acceptance of the minutes of the July 13, 2011 Zoning Commission meeting.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Milton Cluott to accept.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Daniel Satterley. Any objection or discussion? Motion passes. Item 5, public comment period. Anyone wishing to come up and address the zoning commission on any items pertaining to the zoning commission, please come up, sign in with the secretary, and you will get your 3 minutes to speak. No one wishing to speak. Okay, well, I thought someone wanted to address this right now. Okay. It's not. Okay, then we'll move along to the item 6, public hearing to repeal section 17.2038, small plan unit development, traditional neighborhood development, overlay zone of Ascension Parish Unified Land Development Code. Mr. Sauer, this is a recommendation coming from the zoning subcommittee. If you'd like to go ahead and open it up, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This concerns the PUD overlay LDC code 1738 SPUD PUD TND overlay zone, as the chairman has so indicated. Our zoning subcommittee has met multiple times, as most of you are probably well aware, on this issue. I received all kinds of public comments from probably a dozen or more individuals total during those meetings. The comments are just a smattering of things like the ordinance itself discriminates against both developers and landowners, where there is a condition of subdivisions creating lots less than or equal to 10 acres in size. Specifically, that references subpart C.3.G. I heard that anything greater than 3 acres must be a PUD. Number 3, the ordinance 17.2038 impedes a property owner's ability to give, for example, greater than 5 one-acre lots to their children or grandchildren. 4, the ordinance would allow, just as an example again, 5 subdivisions of 3 acres each, but no more. And last, an examination of the PUD overlay map questions the overall logic of how anyone can carve out such a small piece of our entire parish, all of Ascension Parish, for PUD overlay, and then exempt everyone else. It should be clear from our meeting last time, and that's why we're here at a public hearing, that the subcommittee voted unanimous. I want to also indicate that when that happened, I was chairman and I did not vote. Okay, the motion actually was made by Mr. Dalton that we should come to the point where we are today. Some of his comments were things like, at best, the PUD overlay is confusing, it's contradictory. It, meaning the PUD overlays themselves, need to go away. They cause more questions than they solve. Other commissioners that were present at these meetings concurred with Mr. Dalton with very similar sentiments. And then it was Mr. Dalton's motion to remove the PUD overlays in Ascension Parish wherever they may exist, seconded by Commissioner Nance, that caused the motion to pass unanimously. And Mr. Chairman, that's where we are today with the public notice.
Any comments or questions from commissioners?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Cluott.
In light of what Commissioner Sadler was saying, I want to go on record as some of the speakers that were speaking, we was watching, about Mr. Kelly's project. Yes, when we met there, his project is good. It'll help the parish and everything. And it just so happened he's caught up in a dilemma, and I would like to see that this particular item be sent to the parish council, and if it would, then it would solve Mr. Kelly's problems. And I'm against the overlay. I've always been against it because of the people. And I suggest that we take a good look at it and take the recommendations of the subcommittee. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, Mr. Kluwat and Commissioners, I'd really like for us to stay on the topic of the ordinance itself, rather than referring to specific projects or specific properties. So if we could do that, please.
Yes, sir.
Any other comments or questions from Commissioners? No comments or questions from Commissioners, then we'll go ahead and open up the public hearing at this time. Mr. Compton, you've got the list of names.
Phil Goche. I live in District 2. Over the past year or so, with all of the meetings that the public attended about zoning, there were many people who are against this PUD ordinance. I think it should be eliminated. After seeing the presentation about the homeless house project, that's a wonderful project that should go forward, but we should not make special allowance for that project because of the PUD. The PUD should be rescinded altogether, which would alleviate many landowners and residents of some very restrictive problems. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening again, Commissioners. Catherine Guppelt. The PUD overlay zone covers large areas of Council District 1, 2, and 3. I'd like to put a map on the overlay here so people can get an idea just where this goes. Let's see here. It's very difficult to see, but the area inside my pen, there's a dark blue line. This is in District 2, and some in 3, over here, and District 1, and then over again here in the bend in the river. All the areas within these areas have been designated as PUD overlay. Any development over 3 acres, whether by an individual property owner or a developer, must be a PUD. Only 5 or less divisions of property can be made for family partitions. The overlay discriminates against any property owner in this district. It takes away private property rights, going beyond the standard zoning categories to force high-density development in our community. Discussion in the zoning subcommittee was conclusive, and the decision was unanimous to repeal the PUD overlay. The repeal of the PUD overlay will allow property owners to develop land and subdivide property as family partitions, as all other property owners of the parish are subject to under the present code. Everyone will be treated the same. The code will be applied consistently. Development that is more than 3 acres does not have to be a PUD. Property owners can still decide if they want a PUD, as that ordinance is still in place. That is different than the PUD overlay ordinance. There is also a PUD ordinance. I know it's confusing, but they're 2 separate ordinances. The government will not dictate to landowners how they must use more than 3 acres of their property. These PUDs or planned unit developments were sold to our officials as a way to develop attractive high-density residences and create green space, save trees, and improve infrastructure. PUDs have produced 0 lot lines, promised parks that were never built, accidents at intersections that were unprepared for the amount of traffic that was added to the roadways, and they lowered property values. While the planning director has been quick to consider removing the PUD overlay for some, he has not been helpful or even taken part in the discussions with the commission or the citizens who have been asking for over a year that this overlay be removed. Members of the parish council whose districts are affected have done nothing to help the citizens. I would like to thank the commissioners at this time for listening to the people and for helping us through the process to repeal this PUD overlay. And we encourage you to do that tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Trudy Burnett, and as I said, I've been a member of Ascension Parish all my life, in District 1 all my life. We feel as though this PUD overlay was snuck in on us. We had asked Mr. Compton at a master planning committee what the plan was going to do to our parish. He told us it was just clean it up. We had the meeting, public hearing, nobody wanted it. He told us it would come off. When I was told they needed people to come and talk against this, I told them they were crazy. The master plan didn't pass. There is no overlay. I was wrong. How did it get in here? Nobody told us it was there. It was an accident that we found it. I would appreciate it being removed. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next, Mr. Compton?
Thank you, gentlemen, for the opportunity to speak. I've been in this parish all my life, same spot. The law is wrong. It was created wrong. For whatever reason it was created, it wasn't for the right reason. It's on 3 districts, not on all 11 districts. Homeless House wouldn't be in the position it's in if it wasn't for the PUD. Our parish president said it was a mistake. It was a mistake, but the fact that it was a mistake of the PUD overlay being over the historical overlay was not a mistake. An overlay is an overlay. It has nothing to do with the other one. It needs to be removed. We thank you for your recommendation to the council to have it removed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you again, Greg DePlessis. Just here to reemphasize my comments from in the planning meeting. Here's the opportunity that you have to finally clean this up, get rid of the PUD overlay like we were promised 10 months ago. It's a bad law. It needs to go away. Can't urge you strong enough to send that recommendation. And for what it's worth, and I won't use his name, but I can tell you I spoke to one of the 3 councilmen that is one of the 3 of these districts that are covered by this. I spoke to him Saturday. He felt confident the council's ready to abolish the PUD overlay. Again, I can't tell you that that's what the council's going to do. I'm just, for what it's worth, I wanted to pass that comment that I talked to him, and he seems to finally agree that it's a bad law and it needs to be removed. So certainly a recommendation and a unanimous recommendation from this commission would certainly help in that regard. So appreciate it if y'all would give that consideration. Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir.
Patty Boudreau, District 3. Citizens have asked repeatedly that the PUD overlay be removed. This ordinance was snuck into the code. I attended a meeting in Darrow where I live and have lived all of my life, and asked the planning director, Mr. Compton himself, about any changes that would be made to District 3. Same answer as everybody else, we're just cleaning up. Then first thing you know, we find out that after the map was passed, laws were put in to place that greatly affect all of us. We really do appreciate the work you have done to help repeal this law so far. Please send a recommendation to the council for the repeal of the PUD. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Good evening. I too attended meetings that was held in Dara, and I heard what Mr. Adrian Thompson stated. I heard what Mr. Crompton told the residents of that area. You want it removed, we'll take it off, no problem. It's still not done. I attended the subcommittee meetings, and I appreciate the support from the members here. I appreciate all of the input from the citizens, and overwhelmingly, The recommendation was to send it to you to remove the PUD. I would appreciate it if y'all would consider sending this motion to the council to remove it. I think it would help Mr. Kelly's project. I think it's an excellent project. This overlay is hurting him and adjacent property owners in that area, and I do feel like it discriminates against some of the property owners. I know an individual who has land, wants to give it to his children, and he can't do it because of this overlay. He can't do a simple family partition and give all of his kids property. I think it's wrong, and I urge y'all to please reach down inside and think how you would feel if you couldn't give your property to your own kids after living there 70, 80 years. Please send something to the council and ask them to remove this. Thank y'all, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Since Mr. Kluot brought up my name and my project, I think it's only right for me to be able to respond. Mr. Kluot and Mr. Satterley say they've been stressed out for the past 4 weeks over the situation that I put them in because of their meeting with me. All I have stated in the letter when I pulled my project from the last meeting was that they told me they controlled the votes on this commission and I would never get a permit until I got the law removed. The actions tonight confirm what was told to me then. I was here for...
Mr. Kelly.
Can I have my 3 minutes, please?
You can have your 3 minutes, sir, but I'm going to ask you to stay on topic. And right now, the topic is the PUD overlay ordinance, not
Okay,
your
and-
project,
and-
not any issue between you and Commissioners Kluot and Sally. It is the PUD overlay ordinance.
Do
That's
we have
it.
a response to his comments he made about me? Can I do that? He's
You know,
a commissioner.
You heard me ask after I didn't
No,
know
he
was
just
gonna-
did one at the beginning of the
I
zoning
know,
commission.
and I
That's why I'm
asked everybody not to refer to your project, your
Well-
specific project. I'm trying to keep everybody on topic.
Well, let me just say it this way. My project was rejected due to this overlay, this PUD overlay. I was here for a design approval, and this commission didn't act on my design approval. They connected my design approval with an overlay approval. So, you know, everyone here is in support of my project. It's amazing that it gets rejected for design when it was here for a historic overlay design committee. So what does it do to me? Everybody thinks, well, if this is all voted down and the council cancels this overlay, it helps me. No, it doesn't, because it doesn't give me the time in order to start my project timely. And I think it's just unfair, but you know, there was a press conference yesterday of asking me to apologize and things like this. What am I supposed to apologize for? Everything I've said is exactly what this commission has done to me, and I don't think it's fair that in a design approval that you tie me into another law and reject my project for reasons that aren't connected.
Mr. Chairman, I've had enough now.
Anyone else sign it, Mr.?
Yes, sir. Teresa Berlin.
How sad. PUDs are planned unit developments. In Section 17604, Appendix 6 of the Parish Code states, quote, "may depart from the normal procedures, standards, and other requirements of the other sections of the zoning ordinance and subdivision regulations," unquote. Current code is set aside and developers privately negotiate and design development with planning staff. This PUD overlay covers large areas of District 1, 2, and 3 and require that the PUD overlay, that any development over 3 acres must be developed as a planned unit development. This restricts both the individual property owner and the developer. The removal of this overlay does not prevent any property owner from getting a permit for a planned unit, small planned unit, or traditional neighborhood development. It does, however, discriminate greatly toward property owners in District 1, 2, and 3 who are subject to the overlay. I truly believe this is discriminatory. I don't know how you can have such a law in one little section of the parish and restrict people's property rights and not have it throughout. I think it's spot zoning. We're here tonight to ask you to please send the recommendation to the parish council to remove this discriminatory overlay. The discussions that went over a period of 2 months through your zoning subcommittee, all comments were opposed to it, and it came out unanimously opposing it. And we just really appreciate the fact that we have a Planning and Zoning Commission that does care about the concerns of the people. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it. If no one else wishes to address the commission, then the public comment period on this item is over. Comments or questions from commissioners? There are no comments or questions from commissioners. What's the wish of the commission?
Make a motion to recommend that the overlay be eliminated per the subcommittee's recommendation.
Have a motion by Commissioner Julio Dumas to approve the subcommittee's recommendation to the parish council, seconded by Commissioner Howard Dalton. Discussion. No discussion? Then we'll go ahead and vote. Commissioner Dalton.
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow.
Yes.
Commissioner Dumas.
Yes.
Commissioner Nance.
Yes.
Commissioner Kluwat.
Yes.
Commissioner Sadley.
Yes.
Commissioner Esnard.
Yes.
Commissioner Zarazua Gradine.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 7, any new business to be brought up before the commission? All right, item 8, we have no unfinished business. Item 9, zoning subcommittee report. I didn't send you a detailed report. You'll have to give it to the commissioner.
Mr. Chairman, I asked Mr. Nance to sit in for me, actually, so you are off the hook. I was ill that day, and I also received an email from Commissioner Gradine. She was ill as well, and I've been told, although since I wasn't there, that Mr. Dalton missed the meeting, although I don't know his reason why, but maybe Mr. Nance will clarify. But I think as a result, there was no quorum, but Bob, you're on.
I have no report. We didn't take action on anything, and we discussed several topics that we were just discussing, and they weren't advertised, so we can't really go any further than that. We were pretty much off the record.
Mr. Chairman?
And I say we, that was me and the citizens.
Commissioner Sadley.
I'd like to thank Mr. Nance for sitting in for me, and just say that then the next meeting will be, I think it's September 21st at DPW, and since we always follow Mr. Kluwat's meeting, I guess that's at 6 p.m.
So I want to be clear, there will be no zoning subcommittee meeting for the month of August.
Do we want to move that up then, or just leave it where it is?
What's that?
The time? 5 to 6? I mean,
Yeah,
6 to 5?
Yeah, the time is,
Or just leave it at 6?
you're not going to have an August meeting, is what I'm asking. You
No,
said
I'm-
September 21st is your next meeting.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. I meant August.
Oh, you meant August? Okay.
Sorry.
If you choose,
I don't even know what day September
Okay, if-
21st would be.
If you want to move the time up, I don't see a problem with that because the conference room is reserved. So if you want, you can move it up to 5 o'clock. That's not a problem.
Do we need that in form of a motion, Mr. Chairman, or we can just do it?
I think you just advertise it.
I believe we should move it up to 5.
All right, then it'll be at 5 o'clock then. All right. Is that all for your report, Mr. Sadler?
It is, thank you.
All right, then item 10, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Daniel Sadley, seconded by Commissioner J.B. Esnard. Any opposition, discussion? We're adjourned.